Dear students, today we are going to discuss about the vision is responsible for providing sensory experience, feedback and to integrate about the world. Vision is the primary sensory input. Through visual system, 80% of learning takes place. Vision leads sensory modalities at the age of 3 months and at the age of 6 months, vision is the prime source for information about the environment. For children with visual impairment, the acquirement of information about the world may be more difficult, particularly in the areas of language acquisition, concept development and movement. Children with visual impairment may need to learn to use alternative means and strategies for reading, writing, interacting socially and performing various daily tasks. In the year 2013, NIT has stated that students who are entering pre-primary this decade will graduate during the late 2020s and early 2030s. This may seem like a long way off, and it is. As teachers, aides and parents, we are preparing our children for a world we do not really know. We need to assist each child to become independent, literate, numerate, technologically savvy, adaptable and able to participate fully in whatever the 21st century has to offer. The goal for all students with visual impairment is to become competent, self-sufficient, independent people who can participate in all facts of life. The goal can be achieved only on the basis of selecting the educational placement of children with visual impairment. Children with visual impairment selecting educational placement, they should consider some factors. The main thing is, degree of visual loss may vary significantly from person to person. Each child with visual impairment is a unique individual and adjustment to their educational program need to be modified accordingly. This means that each student with a low vision or blindness needs individual adjustment to learn most effectively. Children with visual impairment selecting educational placement is based on many factors. Mainly, the special educators will be better able to make adjustments to accommodate the visually impaired students' learning process by developing and understanding the nature and degree of the vision loss and the educational implications of this loss for their work together in the classroom. Secondly, to categorize the condition of visual impairment such as blind and low vision. The majorities of the students with visual impairment have low vision, which means they are print user but may require special equipment and materials. These students should be encouraged to use their residual vision in their educational program as much as possible. Understanding the type of visual impairment is certainly important, hence the age of onset and level of development before vision loss occur are critical factors in the student's ability to obtain skills and concept. It is important to be aware that the visual impairment happen congenital, that is, vision loss which is present at birth, or adventitious. It means vision loss later in life as a result of degenerative conditions, illness or accident. Since two children with visual impairments may be assessed as having the same visual acuity, they may each functions and learn in very different ways. Vision may fluctuate or may be temporarily influenced by such factors as vision fatigue, lighting and glare. To measure the visual acuity, it means that the eye's ability to resolve detail at both short and long distances. Each eye has its own level of visual acuity and this can vary considerably. Distance visual acuity. The capacity of the eye to resolve fine detail is measured by determining the smallest size print or pictures that the student is able to read from an eye chart. The student's visual acuity is often recorded as a Selen fraction. A student who has a visual acuity of 6/24 sees at 6 meters what the normal, that is 6/6 vision eye can sees at 24 meters. In 6 bar 24, the numerator representing the testing distance and the denominator indicating the smallest letter or picture size that students is able to identify. Near visual acuity. Determining near visual acuity involves assessing the capacity of the eye to resolve fine detail. Near visual acuity is recorded as an endpoint size. The endpoint originally referred to a measure of print size used by printers. The normal eye can generally read print which is N6, that is newspaper print, or even N5, the endpoint size indicated on the Educational Vision Assessment Clinical Report and other ophthalmological report. Generally refers to the minimum size print a student can resolve. A student with low vision generally requires the different size print, usually larger, for sustained reading. To measure the field of vision, it means to find out the area of vision. The visual field is reduced to less than 20 degrees. That means the visually impaired is eligible for visiting teacher support, and the visual field reduced to less than 10 degree, it means that kind of visually impaired is eligible for program for students with disabilities funding. For an example, at the age of 16 years, the child may get retinitis pigmentosa. It leads to peripheral field loss and macular degeneration, which may lead to central field loss. The above mentioned points are purely related to the condition of children with visual impairment. The special educator must take decision that which educational placement is suitable to the particular individual with visually impaired on basis of their condition. Educational placement options. The various educational placement options are local school itinerant teacher model and the residential school or outreach service model. First, we will discuss about the local schools itinerant teacher model. Itinerant teachers travel between schools providing support to visually impaired students on a daily or a weekly basis. These teachers provide a wide range of services for students, parents and school personnel. In fact, some estimate that only about 50% of their time is spent teaching. Itinerant teachers provide academic support and teach braille reading and writings, social skills, daily living skills, computer and assistive technological skills, listening skills, orientation and mobility skills and career education. They are also responsible for providing accessible materials and textbooks. Itinerant teachers facilitate collaboration with others in the educational environment. They provide continued disability awareness training to sighted classmates and consultative services such as in-service training and written guidelines for school personnel. Itinerant teachers meet within school teachers frequently to assess the students' progress and act as an advocate and focus on ensuring that all educational team members understand the students' needs. They are a resource for parents and act as a liaison between parents and schools. The other main area of responsibility for itinerant teacher is student assessment. Itinerant teachers assess the education needs of new referrals, perform ongoing evaluation of current student and conduct literacy evaluation and comprehensive educational testing. Resource rooms are also used to support visually impaired students in local schools. These rooms have a variety of uses. In a small percentage of the schools, resource rooms are used as an alternative classroom settings for visually impaired students. More commonly, they serve as a supportive resources such as computers with a special software or copies of braille books. Sometimes resource rooms occupy a separate room, while in other cases a portion of the library is set aside as a resource area for visually impaired students. Nationally, about 90% of visually impaired students are educated at their local schools. Most of the visually impaired students spend time in regular classrooms with the sighted peers. The most common model of support for blind students in local school is an itinerant teacher. Next, we are going to discuss about the residential school or outreach services model. Most specialized schools for visually impaired students incorporate the outreach model. where they provide services to the broader community in addition to their residential students. Specialized schools offer a wide variety of outreach services such as orientation and mobility programs, technology assistance, adaptive physical education, life competence skills, academics, vocational training, supervised employment, recreation and leisure, visual efficiency training, listening skills, counseling, speech therapy and physical therapy. They also provide evaluation and offer training and consultation to local schools and parents. Two other major roles that specialized schools often fill are resource centers for distribution of adaptive materials and centers for school-based research. Over time, collaboration between specialized and local schools has increased, leading to more fluidity between the two educational settings. These collaboration has resulted in increase the three areas, that is transfer between the two educational settings. The second one is use of short-term placements at specialized school, and third one is mainstreaming experiences for residential students, where the students spend part of each day attending classes at a local school district. Additionally, most residential schools offer mainstreaming experiences to their students, especially in the high school areas. Day programs where students return home at the end of the day are also becoming more popular within the specialized schools. In 1990, 30% of specialized school students were day students only. The advantages and disadvantages of different settings. Most published work on educational settings for visually impaired students consists of opinion pieces not methodologically rigorous. While they are not consultative evidence, the following points provides a valuable overview of advantages and disadvantages associated with each model. Advantages and disadvantages of local school itinerant teacher model. Students can live at home, which creates opportunities for stronger parent-child bonding. The second thing is, students can attend their neighborhood schools and have a normal academic and social experiences. The next is, in this model, the students can develop friendships with peers who live close by. And in this model, the students attend the same schools as their siblings, which gives more support in the schools and allows parents to focus their attention on only one school. Students have shorter bus rides to school, so they have more time to devote to their education. The itinerant teachers are often overworked. They may be responsible for as many as 40 to 50 students in 20 schools, covering a few hundred miles per week. Itinerant teachers often have an inflexible schedule, which means that they cannot spend as much time as they would like with a particular student. Some skills, for an example, braille reading and orientation and mobility, it may require an intensity of services that the itinerant model cannot provide. Students may experience a sense of difference if they are the only visually impaired student at the school. Social isolation is a possible outcome, especially if the students do not receive adequate training in social skills. In this model, the students may not be exposed to positive blind role model, and they will have fewer opportunities for learning with visually impaired peers. Next, we are going to discuss about the specialized schools, that is outreach model. Special school serves as a center for expertise and materials. Attending classes with visually impaired peers leading to more informal peer teaching opportunities and less of a sense of difference from peers. In this model, students are more likely to be exposed to positive blind role models, that is both peers and others, and in a special school. All classes reinforce blindness and their specific skills. There is a greater possibility of total environmental control. And in this model, short-term placement in residential schools can provide local school district students with a skill that need intensive instruction. The environment or the specialized school does not stimulate the one that the students must go to after graduating. Specialized schools do not offer education with the sighted peers. Specialized schools run the risk of accepting behavior that would not be condoned in general society. Teachers at the specialized school may not always maintain high standard of students. Let us discuss about the unique developmental challenges and educational needs of children with visual impairment in educational placement. Children with visual impairment face developmental challenges in early childhood that leads to unique educational needs once they reach school age. Developmental delays in one area can lead to further delays in other areas. Therefore, researchers agree that early identification and early interventions are critical. Visual impairments in infants and young children limit the range and the variety of learning experiences in three areas, that is, interactions with the physical environment, interpersonal interactions, and learning through observation and modeling of others. These restrictions often lead to developmental delays in motor, social, cognitive, orientation and mobility and self-care skills. Common areas of developmental delay. Childhood development is a complex process and the effects of visual limitations depend on multiple factors including the causes of vision loss, severity, age of onset, intellectual ability, environment, and presence or absence of other disabilities. While there is a wide variety in the development of children with visual impairments, there are some areas where delays are often found, especially developmental delays happen in the following areas, that is, cognitive, social, motor, self-care and orientation and mobility skills. School age, the unique education needs of students with visual impairment. Visually impaired students have unique educational needs that relate directly to the developmental delays often experienced in early childhood. In addition to the core curriculum that all students are expected to study, visually impaired students have a wide ranging set of additional skills that they need to gain in order to successfully complete the core curriculum. The expanded core curriculum is a set of guidelines put forth by the National Agenda 2 that explain the skills that all visually impaired students should attain regardless of educational setting. The expanded core curriculum includes the development of skills in the following areas, that is, compensatory academics, communications, orientation and mobility, social interaction, daily living skills, recreation or leisure, career or vocational, daily living skills, recreation or leisure, career or vocational, and visual efficiency. Some of these skills are disability specific because of the teaching model, while some involve disability specific content. Current issues. Two factors that greatly impact the education of visually impaired students today are technological developments and the shortage of qualified teachers. Technological developments. In the past, technological accommodations in the classroom were limited to the transcription of written materials. Recent technological developments have provided visually impaired students with the tools that increase their independence and improve their ability to communicate. Computerized technological accommodations are often grouped into input and output technology. Input devices allow the user to communicate with the computer, while output devices help the user understand the computer's output. Like all technology, compatibility among the equipment is sometimes a problem. Students with visual impairment come to rely on equipment that sometimes break down, and some of these devices can be very heavy for young children. One more thing is that availability of technology in different educational settings is impossible. Only specialized schools have a wider variety of technology available, since they often serve as resource centers for the distribution of adaptive materials. Teacher shortage. One major issue affecting education for the blind today that spans different education settings is a shortage of qualified teachers. As of 2000, there were about 6,700 certified teachers working in the field, and it was estimated that 5,000 additional teachers were needed nationwide to fill up the gap. There are only about 33 programs nationwide that train certified teachers for the blind. These programs produce about 250 graduates per year, enough to cover retirement at the current rate. This situation is likely to become more critical due to two factors: low enrollment rates in the teacher training programs, and many teachers for the blind are within 10 years of retirement. Rural schools have an especially difficult time recruiting and retaining teachers due to their isolated environment and low teacher salaries. Conclusion: the effectiveness of different education settings based on three main factors such as the visually impaired students, the classroom, and the outcome measures. Since the population of visually impaired students is so heterogeneous and it is not possible to identify a single educational setting, the set of services that apply to the entire population. Visually impaired students' needs or differ from person to person. The needs may satisfied on basis of the causes of the eye condition, age of onset, level of vision, the presence or absence of early interventions, and other disabilities. Since the quality of education varies from classroom to classroom within a single educational settings. A good education is defined by what goes on in the setting, not just who else is in it. School structures and activities vary according to their educational level, so that to measure the effectiveness of different educational settings such as academic performance, social skills, mobility, post-secondary enrollment, employment and wages, and community involvement after graduation. The academic and social domains may sometimes conflict. A setting that promotes one may negatively affect the others. It is highly unlikely that a single education setting could meet all the needs of all visually impaired children all the time. As mentioned above, there is such variations in the populations, schools and outcome measures as to render meta-analysis meaningless. To standardize measurement of visually impaired students' treatment and effects of educational placement, a large central funding sources and a rigorous technical team is needed, and these conditions are rarely found outside of specialized schools. Okay students, today we are discussed about the selecting the educational placement for children with visual impairment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.